There's a growing concern that many Americans continue to follow outdated advice when it comes to the use of daily low-dose aspirin, despite updated guidelines warning against it. This situation reflects a broader issue in public health, where habits rooted in past medical recommendations linger even after new evidence emerges. In this case, the American public is still largely unaware of the risks associated with routine aspirin use for healthy older adults, even though these risks now outweigh the potential benefits. For years, doctors recommended daily aspirin use for healthy adults as a preventative measure against heart attacks and strokes, assuming the benefits of reduced clotting outweighed the risks. But in 2019, the American College of Cardiology and the American Heart Association, AHA, issued new guidelines, cautioning against this practice for adults over 70. They highlighted that the risks of gastrointestinal bleeding from aspirin use now outweighed the benefits for most people in this age group. The guidelines specifically noted that aspirin should no longer be routinely recommended for healthy older adults unless they have a history of cardiovascular disease. Despite this shift in medical advice, many Americans continue to take low-dose aspirin daily. A recent survey conducted by the Annenberg Public Policy Center revealed that nearly half of U.S. adults still mistakenly believe the benefits of daily aspirin use outweigh the risks. Even more concerning, 18% of adults who have no personal or family history of heart disease or stroke report that they regularly take aspirin. This persistence of outdated beliefs, despite clear medical guidelines, indicates a dangerous gap in public health communication. This widespread misunderstanding is particularly pronounced among older adults. While younger adults, ages 18 to 39, are more likely to correctly acknowledge the risks of aspirin use, only 7% of adults over 60 years old share this awareness. This disparity is troubling, as the older population is more likely to continue the habit of aspirin use due to years of guidance that emphasized its benefits. Furthermore, these individuals may be more susceptible to adverse effects, particularly gastrointestinal bleeding, which can be life-threatening. The issue is compounded by the fact that many individuals still believe that aspirin can prevent heart disease or stroke, even in the absence of risk factors. The reality is that for people who have never experienced cardiovascular events, daily aspirin use offers little to no benefit, while increasing the risk of dangerous side effects. As the survey indicates, a significant portion of the population, particularly older adults, has not been adequately informed of the risks, which highlights the failure of both public health campaigns and healthcare providers to keep pace with evolving medical knowledge. This situation poses a serious risk to public health. The continued use of aspirin by individuals without heart disease or stroke history puts them at unnecessary risk of bleeding complications. With older adults, especially those over 70, often being the primary group affected, the consequences of this misunderstanding could be dire. The health risks associated with unnecessary aspirin use are not just theoretical, they are real, and they could lead to serious harm, including hospitalization and even death from gastrointestinal bleeding. Moreover, the failure to update public knowledge is not just a medical oversight. It speaks to a deeper issue of public trust in healthcare systems and professionals. People are more likely to trust long-standing advice, even when new evidence shows it to be outdated or dangerous. The disconnect between healthcare recommendations and public perception is a critical challenge in improving health outcomes, particularly for older populations who are most vulnerable to the effects of misleading information. The situation is further exacerbated by the fact that health guidelines, which are often subject to change, can create confusion. While the 2019 guidelines from the AHA and ACC were clear in their stance against daily aspirin use for healthy older adults, the failure to adequately communicate these changes to the public leaves room for harmful practices to persist. Health messages must evolve alongside medical research, and efforts to ensure that the public understands and accepts new guidance are essential to preventing unnecessary harm. In conclusion, the continued widespread use of low-dose aspirin among healthy older adults, despite new guidelines warning against it, is a troubling issue. It highlights the need for more effective communication between healthcare providers, policymakers, and the public. The risks of gastrointestinal bleeding and other complications associated with aspirin use are too significant to ignore, yet many Americans remain unaware or dismissive of these dangers. Until clear and consistent messages reach the public, particularly older adults who are most at risk, this problem will persist, leaving many to face unnecessary health risks that could have been easily avoided.